That it's a feast full of eyes, a low blow to purpose, and I'm a little kid at a 3-ring circus. I don't wanna gain the whole world and lose my soul. Don't walk away. Let me... Comatose, half-hearted, room temperature's fine. Sleepwalking, no dreamers even filling our minds. Earth shaking, we be quaking like a wake-up bomb. This ain't no trouble overseas, no Vietnam. So don't blink when you wanna come cross the border. Take a look around and come test the water. Jumpstart my heart and wake the sleeper inside.
From the first day we are born, we rely on other people. But people can let us down, whether they intend to or not. Our parents, our siblings, our friends, and those in our community can do things to hurt us. When people hurt, they pass pain along to others. Hurt people hurt people. Broken people break people. These forces shape us. They shape who we will become and where we will go in life. If we're not careful, they will make us become some of the things we hate or destroy. None of us asked to be born. When things at home are messed up, we can struggle to find a way to cope and a reason to care. When we're hurt, angry, or lonely, it's tempting to quit trying with an attitude of, who cares anyway, and why should I? It may not feel like it now from where you're sitting, but nothing is more important than your education. Why is education key? When the challenges and problems of your teenage life are pressing in on you, your education gives you a constructive focus while preparing you for success and your future. No one finishes a race if they don't know where they're going. The biggest obstacle to success is losing focus. Focus and future go together. Education is key to your future and success because it keeps you focused toward your future while you navigate and face the distracting challenges of your teenage years. The problems and sufferings can only get worse when we respond in destructive ways. If you think life is harsh now, responding to the problems in your life in self-defeating and destructive ways can take you further than you want to go, keep you longer than you want to stay, and cost you more than you're willing to pay. They can take you down a path from which you can never fully recover. Some choices last a lifetime. Today's student faces challenges, circumstances, and dangers unlike any generation before. Today's student has adult-sized problems, and it often feels impossible to find anyone who understands. We must ring the bell of awareness about these challenges and dangers, and assure students that these forces do not have to destroy their lives. We can overcome through right response.
My senior year in high school, I was arrested for armed robbery and lost the opportunity to receive my diploma and graduate with my class.
It'd be easy to say that it's not my fault for some people, but I don't put the blame on anybody but myself because I didn't have to do what I did.
I would see these young gang members trying to get me affiliated with them, so I felt like I had to do what I had to do to be accepted in that peer group.
One of my earliest memories from childhood, when I was about 4, I remember playing in the house with my aunt, and I remember hearing a loud explosion sort of noise outside. I went outside, that's when I found my dad laying beside his car, covered with blood. My mom screaming she had shot him twice. Was gone. My dad didn't want to live in the home with my stepmom. My stepmom didn't want to live in the home with my dad, so they left. So I was essentially parentless for going on 2 years.
6 months later, not only did I quit the track team, but I quit school.
I'm inmate 262974, and within doing this time, I've had a lot to think about and reflect on as far as how my life led down a destructive path and some of the forces that pushed me in this dilemma that landed me in prison.
Drinking excessively because I was trying to cope with all the pain.
I don't know when I'm gonna ever go home.
At 15, I would learn that my mother was a prostitute. My father was her pimp.
It severely traumatized me because I didn't know truly who my mother and father was. I was raised believing that my father was actually my brother. At the age of 15, I got my first stint of trouble, and I was admitted to the Department of Juvenile Justice. I came home after this stint and I still hadn't learned a thing.
I started looking at the world and looking at myself through how I felt. And because I didn't feel too good, because enthusiasm was short-lived for me, I was always looking down and appearing as if I was lost, aimless, without hope.
A troubled home environment can have a significant impact on your thinking, attitude, and your overall outlook on life. When our home and family is messed up, we can lose interest in our future and success. Abusive parents and siblings, sexual abuse, drug abuse, hostility and conflict, neglect, absentee parents, and divorce leaves us with a sense of being lost, empty, and alone.
And to beat my mom and then come in there and find a reason to beat me.
And my adoptive family was abusive. Had a lot of issues that I was dealing with as a young child.
I was so afraid of my dad that when I was in second grade, I actually got molested by his best friend's son, who was a high school senior.
My first memory was of me getting beaten and watching my mother getting beaten. I thought that all fathers beat their wives and kids.
As a child, I felt hopeless, weak, miserable, bound up inside. All we wanted from a stepfather was love. When my stepfather would put his hands on my brother, hitting him in the face, calling him stupid, a bastard, it really got to me, and eventually it started turning to anger. Me and my brother went to a counselor at school one time to tell them about the problems we was going through, but we left before we ever talked because we were scared of coming home to our stepfather after they would call home or mention the facts that we went into the counselor's office.
Lack of direction in our lives can cause us to explore at-risk behaviors like vandalism, truancy, running away, breaking curfew, bullying, theft, and rebellion. Rather than give us direction, these choices can leave us lonely, empty, and isolated with nothing to look forward to but pain, prison, and death.
With my dad dealing drugs, I started gravitating towards my peers since I wasn't getting what I needed at home.
And the only ones that seemed like they would have anything to do with me was the ones that, did the drugs and was always cutting up in school and to buy the drugs. So I started stealing at a young age, just stealing at home, stealing from my sisters, just stealing from anybody I could.
Everybody that was with me told on the fact that I was the first one to go through the window. That made me the only one that got into trouble. When I got home, I didn't have little problems anymore. I had adult-sized problems.
I fell back in with my old friends. Started skipping school.
Time had came for trial, and all my friends had turned against me, and all the blame had fell on me.
Coming up in school, I was always picked on. And
From the neighborhood to the schoolyard, you will face some form of peer pressure. Our friends and cliques rarely have our best interest at heart. They will lead us into some at-risk and dangerous situations involving things like drugs, sexting, violence, gangs, weapons, and crime. The end result is prison.
Being in the neighborhood and getting in trouble, taking the things I learned from the neighborhood, taking that stuff to school, coming up from being chastised by my mother from just being bad and trying to sneak and do things I had no business doing. Being confused because I felt like I said, I was misunderstood.
Served for 24 years on a life sentence for taking my mom's life when I was 17, back in 1988. So when I was 6 years old, when my older brother tried to molest me. 6 months later, he shot me in the left arm with a 12-gauge shotgun, nearly killing me and maiming me for the rest of my life. These events culminated in me having hate and anger in my heart and mind, which led me to take my mom's life, during a fit of rage and anger during an argument.
I'm inmate number 270085. I'm serving 999 years in prison. I've been here for a little over 11 years.
I was tired of all the pain, all the abuse, the sexual abuse, the physical abuse, the mental abuse. I was tired of all of it, so I was going to make it stop myself. And the way by making it stop is by killing myself.
¿Qué es justa
para mí.
I used to go steal money out of my sister's pocketbook to go buy my drugs. I would steal my dad's tools that he used to make a living with to go buy my drugs.
I'm number 337151. I've been incarcerated for 6 years now. I was introduced to a lot of things at a young age. I was introduced to pornography at a young age. I was molested at a young age. I was bullied at a young age, you could say. We started smoking cigarettes, started burglarizing homes, started stealing. It was all a rush, all a thrill. When I started stealing small things. Started stealing candy here and there, and soon it turned to money. It turned into breaking into houses.
I quit caring. If I can't never get anything right, why should I even try? I went through pretrial intervention, and during pretrial intervention, you go through a drug rehab. I'd go to it high, go to it drunk.
Sneaking in my brother's room, pinching joints out of his sack, you know, getting high. 6th grade came around. I failed 6th grade. I had to go to summer school.
The few friends I did have, that's pretty much all we did was drugs and break the law.
I remember growing up, my mother always used to tell me, the choices that you make today will affect your future. I ain't want to hear that, Mom. Just want to go about my business. Mom, are you done yet? But now I see where she was coming from.
Rather than resolve the hurt and problems of our past, these reckless choices can become the source of more pain and confusion. Often, these choices, like teen pregnancy, dropping out of school, drug and alcohol use, criminal and at-risk behavior, can never be undone.
We was all out partying one night, riding around, drinking, something I had no reason to be doing. Seeing how my dad was an alcoholic for years, and I was following in his footsteps. I wanted to look good to him. Well, I wanted to feel accepted. So we was out riding around, and we come to this bridge, and they dared me to drop this weight off this bridge. To hit the back of a truck, a transfer truck, just to make a noise. It was a 35-pound barbell that the guy had in his car. They dared me to drop it off the bridge to hit the back of a transfer truck. And I did. It went through the windshield of the truck, and it killed a man.
Our choices affect who we are, what we will become, and where we will end up. Our friends, peers, and cliques never tell us about the painful devastation and consequences of taking risks, breaking the law, and reckless behavior. It only takes a second to make a decision that will destroy your life.
First time in trouble. I got a life sentence off the get-go. I was 20 years old when this happened. I'm 44 today.
I would break in stores, break in people's houses to get a drug, to get some more pot. Well, that pot led to another drug, and that drug is crack. The pot didn't do it no more. I had to have something higher and stronger to fulfill my desires.
And it led me to taking other people's property, vandalizing it, in and out of juvenile halls. You know what I mean? Just for the props. Go and rob and steal. He was telling me, you're gonna get yourself you're gonna end up in prison. Someday you're either gonna be dead on the streets or end up in prison. I said, man, I got this figured out, man. You don't know what you're talking about. I lived the street all my life. I know the streets.
It was so quick to break in these houses and break in these gas stations and get easy money to support my habit. It was so fast. I didn't have to go out there and break a sweat. All I had to do was throw a brick through a window, kick a door in, and go steal something. You know, that was easy. But it was also easy for my best friend to tell on me. And it was so fast to kick a door in, but it was so fast for the police to come pick me up too and snatch me up.
I got charged with murder, burglary first, armed robbery, arson, criminal conspiracy, possession of a weapon, and overnight I went from this 17-year-old living a fun life to being in jail, facing a death penalty, all because of the little choices I made when I was a juvenile. It started out with stealing cars, destroying property, and ended with murder.
Emotional baggage carried from the past influences us through our lives. In our attempts to flee from our wounded past, we tend to make bad choices. Rather than resolve the hurt and problems of our past, these reckless choices can become the source of more pain and confusion. Often, these choices, like teen pregnancy, dropping out of school, drug and alcohol use, criminal and at-risk behavior, can never be undone.
It took me just a second to commit a kidnapping after I made the decision to do it, but now it's taken a lifetime to outlive the consequences.
All life's demands, cause they chip and they nag and they pull at me. And every little thing I make up my mind to be. Like I'ma be a daddy who's in the mix, and I'ma be a husband who stays legit. And I pray that I'm an artist who rises above the road that is wide and filled with self-love. Everything that I see draws me, though it's only in you that I can truly see that it's a feast full of eyes, a low blow to purpose. And I'm a little kid at a 3-ring circus.
As Director of the South Carolina Department of Corrections under Governor Haley, we want to do more than just warehouse prisoners. 80% of all offenders will be released back into the community, and this agency is duty-bound to ensure that rehabilitation is available to those who want it. In the past 2 years, we have brought rehabilitation back to this agency. The success of this rehabilitation initiative has propelled us into our next one. Historically, corrections have focused simply on housing offenders, on the world inside the prisons. The corrections model we inherited simply isn't working, and the social problems facing South Carolinians continue to mount. We intend to do more than just corrections as usual. We want to take our mission and responsibility outside the fences as well and impact the at-risk homes and children that too often produce next year's prison inmates. At the Department of Corrections, we're embarking on a new initiative that involves more than just corrections. This new initiative includes an emphasis on crime prevention. Some of these projects include a DJJ Therapy Dog project, Parenting and Family Development Visitation project, a Victim Offender Reconciliation project, in partnership with the Family Courts and an At-Risk Community Development Initiative, Juvenile Offender Outreach project, Middle and High School Engagement Teams, Delinquency Prevention Films, and much more. Through this new initiative, we hope to confront and combat delinquency and crime and a host of other social problems where they begin, with the at-risk homes and children of South Carolina. If you or your organization would like to help, contact me at 888-888-8888.